Alright. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic, Less Non-Classic. This is episode number 2418, the Doubleshot number 2312. We have basically kind of in a way we have kind of one set of trade issues, the other is just, basically it's the final three issues discussed for two different series, so I kind of figured, why not throw them in here. The trade we're discussing issues from is Green Lantern Corps, The Dark Side of Green, which collects basically Green Lantern Corps Volume 2, Issues 7 through 13. The first three issues is known as The Dark Side of Green, which focus on Guy Gardner and two brand new characters who only appear in this very story arc. The character's name is Remy Hall and Von Diggle. Remy Hall is a girl who has a crush on Guy Gardner, and she's here for 3 issues and a single origin issue, and that's it. Yep, it's like basically they were created just to appear here and deal with Domineers. This is written by Keith Champagne, artwork by Patrick Gleason. It's a really interesting story. I like the fact focus on Guy Gardner for a few issues. Yep. But what issue 10, you might ask? 10, of course, basically we have Dave Gibbons take over the writing and the artwork for these issues, with Patrick Gleason the cover artwork, co-artwork. Basically, the first issue is 10 is basically a standalone issue. Basically, we have just basically a fun thing, deal with some alien species here, known as the Disbatites. Yes, and you see a Kilowog. Yeah, and like 10 is just a standalone issue. 12 basically focuses on a little bit on, well, Sir Nick. Yeah, it's like basically 10 through 13 are basically a bunch of standalone issues. Like, this is like Shark. No, just basic quick issues. We have, basically a lot of the way. These issues are all focused on Guy Gardner. Yep. We do kill off one character here in issue number 12. Taka Z. He gets killed off here after being just introduced just a year prior. And here he is getting killed off in issue 12. And Quinon, who was just killed off the previous issue. Yeah, he got killed off in issue 11. Yep. And we have Bazaz. Yeah, a bug monster. And this was his debut appearance. And he's here for like a year and he's gone. Yeah, because basically that's the book itself. And of course with 13, Dave Gibbons has stopped doing the artwork where he just does the writing with Patrick Gleason on the artwork. And we have Dispatilis, who's a member of the Senational Corps. Yeah, he's basically a bug monster. So yeah, deal with a bug monster for a few issues. Yep. Yeah, that's mostly what 10, 11, 13 are, and 12 has nothing to do with it at all. Are these good issues? Yes. Yes, they are. They're weird, but they're good. At least I appreciate that. But, not much else to say about these ones. I found these issues to be really good. I give these issues a 9.5 out of 10. Next up, basically, we have is Sensational Spider-Man issues 29 to 31. The last 3 issues discussed for this entire series, because I've already discussed Volume 2 already. Volume 2 is done. These are the last 3 issues overall for the whole series. Now, Sensational Spider-Man is still done by Tom Durek, and he's the only one who sticks around here. Mike Wendigo left the book at this point. He co-does with Andy Javosage on the artwork, on the writing. The artwork is done by Robert Forrest and Tom Lyle. Basically, it's an issue where Spider-Man teams a Black Cat to deal with Arcade, who last appeared in issue final issue of Excalibur. Like, yeah, let's pair Essential Spider-Man for an issue. And then basically issue 30, we still deal with Arcade. It's mostly put deal with Arcade for a few issues. Why not? Yep. We also appearance by Hal Hobart, who is a daughter of a policewoman who's been sort of a recurring character in this book. And 31, sadly put, is the final appearance of Billy Walters. Yeah, he quits Daily Bugle, and after this issue, he's never seen ever again in comics. Nope. Not at all. Why? Don't know why. He was just dropped right after this issue. And sadly put, basically 2 issues afterwards. Like, here's the thing. This book would end, like, after 31. The book managed to last another 3 issues before concluding with the Gathering of the 5 story arc. Yep. That's where it concluded with. Now, as for As for Peter Parker Spider-Man, yeah, for his last 3 issues, it's Howard Mankey and John Romita does just the cover artwork for these issues. With Javier Josaris, who does some artwork for the main book. Yeah, most of these issues, it deals more with basically, like, Spider-Man deals with the whole thing with Jill Stacy around. Jill Stacy is Gwen Stacy's cousin. We have guest appearance here by the Ghostwriter, both Dan Ketch and a guy by the name of Nob Ketch. Nob Ketch is, if you're really curious, how was it with Dan Ketch? It's his ancestor. Dan Ketch is Johnny Blaze's brother. Of course, Dan Ketch had last appeared back in Wear It By Night number 6. Nob Kale appeared in the Ghostwire finale, which was the final issue of the series. Yep, and then issue number 34 deals with basically sort of a minor gang war that will continue on even in the relaunch. We have apparently King's henchmen, basically 2 members of the one of the Forcers, Ox. Now, this Ox is Raymond Botch, and he is Ronald Botch's brother. Yes, Ronald Botch was his brief replacement. Yeah, he was around for a certain period of time that he got relegated. He basically got demoted like right after Brand New Day. Yeah, he has occasionally appeared over the years. He was brought in as a replacement for his brother who died, and then he appeared sporadically over the years, not very much. His last appearance was actually issue of Captain America. As for his brother Raymond, who is surprisingly still around, and he's a little bit more than his brother, and he died back in issue of Daredevil. He actually got brought back in the 90s. Yeah, this was actually his return to comics, first time since Daredevil 86, where he died. Yes. And this was his next appearance. So, this was his first appearance at this point in time, first time in 26 years. We also appearance of a guy named Rocco, who just basically just a guy who appears for this issue. Somebody's here as well, and then basically 95 deals with basically stuff that leads to Gathering the 5. That's most of what it is, and John Romita Jr. returns to do the artwork for this one. Yep. So basically we have John Jr. return for 94. Pretty good set of issues. And of course I love the fact that Peter got a chance to sort of basically settle things with Jill. And you can kind of say these two are brought in here because, well, they're going to be part of the relaunch. Arthur Stacy definitely will be. Oh, yes, definitely. Arthur Stacy, who is George Stacy's brother. Yes, he be actually part of the relaunch for Spider-Man. Yeah, but he's only around the relaunch for about the first couple years, and then he's dropped from the comics. Though his last appearance actually in a Lifeline miniseries, which was released in 2001. That was his last appearance to date, was in that miniseries. As for his daughter Jill, who is not dead, by the way, who has striking resemblance to Gwen, she, of course, basically would not be a big part of the. She probably relaunched for a little while, and then pretty much by the time JMS took over Amazing Spider-Man, she stopped appearing. Her last appearance was actually in the opening issue of Spectacular Spider-Man. Yeah, that was her last appearance. That was basically 20 years ago. Yeah, so she's not appeared for 20 years. Why? Don't know why. It's kind of weird. She also has a brother. Yes, Paul Stacy. He doesn't really appear very much at all. Yeah, he wasn't a big part of the relaunch of Spider-Man, like his sister and father were, but he was there. But then, like, it seems like after the first couple of years of the next chapter stuff by Howard Mankey, he was dropped from comics. No explained reason why. Maybe because basically they want to keep hashing up the whole thing with Gwen Stacy. That's probably the reason why it was dropped. But in the case of these 3 issues, particularly of both these 2 series, I give them both a 9.5 out of 10. My final thoughts on Sensational. Great series. Check it out. Peter Parker Spider-Man, another really good series. Just not a fan of the John Romita Jr.'s artwork, who basically took over the book with the last couple years of the book when the book became retitled to Peter Parker Spider-Man with issue 75, because he was not the regular writer for that book, artist of the book. Nope. Here's something interesting about the writer of the book, Howard Mankey. Howard Mankey would pretty much be how should I put this? He would be mostly put the regular writer for this book for a long period of time. Yeah, that's thing Howard Mankey. He wrote pretty much most of the series. Yeah, for the Spider-Man book, he took over most of it. Todd McFarlane left, and he wrote almost the entire series. He took over issue 20. He did 24, but he became the regular art writer with issue 44 and did it for the next 6 years. Yeah, nothing really wrong with him doing the writing per se. Not really, no. He took over from Terry Kavanagh, who had most of what been kind of basically took over the writing duties for a little while. He did 19 to 20, 25, 36, 41 to 43. But he wasn't the last one there. Oh no. If you're really curious who took up now, Todd McFarlane only did the first 16 issues and then he left. Yep, he left. Yeah, because Todd McFarlane was his last issue, while Anderson did issue 17, and Eric Larson did the Revenge of Scissor Six story arc. Yep, he did. He wrote and drew it, which is basically I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was a 6-part story. He wrote and drew the whole thing himself. And then pretty much basically when he left, that's when basically we had the replacement writer of, Howard Mankey for one issue. And then come back to Terry Kavanagh. So, mostly put kind of in the way, if you think about it, the book didn't have many writers. For 98 issues, you had just Tom McFarlane, Ann Nocenti, Howard Mankey, and Terry Kavanagh. 4 writers for 98 issues. And about most of the book was done by either Tom McFarlane. Basically, you had 3 regular writers in the book. McFarlane, Larson just did one story, he left, but he was basically just there for a brief period of time. The shortest essential was Ann Nocenti. She only did 1 issue. But Senational Spider-Man, that was something else altogether, because originally that book was done by Dan Jurgens, but he left after issue number 6. With issue 7, Todd DeZinko took over the writing for the book, and he would pretty much be the regular writer from that point forward up until the final issue. Yeah, he pretty much wrote from that point up until like the last issue ever released that book. Yeah, that's the interesting thing about him, is that he would write this book. Yeah. Where did he start with? Issue 7. Yep. It was issue 7 to go over as the writing user from Dan Jurgens. He would write the book into the last issue. So unlike, let's say, Spider-Man, which had 4 writers, Senational Spider-Man only had 2. Just 2. That's not bad for a 33 issue book. They only published like 1 annual this entire time was out. Spider-Man only put out 2. Yeah, the second annual they published, beside from the one where he had the 97 one, which that was something else. 98 was teamed with Elektra. Yes, Elektra. Yeah, and at that point in time, just amazing. And Peter Parker started only producing annuals because the other books were not produced. Like Spectacular stopped doing the annuals. Sensational only published 1, and that was it. Yeah, but 2 really good books overall. Highly enjoyable books. I kind of wish Marvel would finish collecting these books in trade. If you're really curious about the Spider-Man book, like, is the whole series in trade? No, it is not. It is not for some strange reason. Oh, I thought you did issue 15. Let's see. So 15, I thought that was McFarlane. No, that was Larson. Yeah, Larson did another issue I kind of forgot about. So, now 15 has been collected before. Yes, it has. It was actually collected in the premiere hardcover for Revenge Sinister 6. So basically, like, if you look, I'm looking right here, like, the first 25 issues are all in trade. These issues that I know of are not in trade. 26, 34, 38 to 44. Is there anything else? 76 to 87, and of course 3 issues I just discussed. Yeah, these issues are not in trade, but damn, this was a damn good title. Yeah. That's one thing I loved about this book. This book was absolutely amazing, the original book, and the relaunch was still pretty good as well. I'm discussing the last few issues with when I'm discussing the Peter Parker's Book of Spider-Man. We'll discuss it then. Yep. Yeah, and here's the strange thing though. Volume 2 has the entire run in trade. Isn't that strange? That book has they file all the issues in trade, but yet this is something quite strange though. Yeah, that has issues in trade, but the first volume is not finished yet. Who the heck freaking knows? Sensational, if you're really curious, is the whole series in trade for Sensational? Well, the answer is almost the entire series is in trade. You're thinking, really? Yes, really. Almost the entire series in trade. If you're really curious, the only issues not in trade are 3 issues I just discussed here in this review. Yep, all but 3 issues. At least that's better than what happened with Peter Parker Spider-Man, which has almost half the series not in trade. And of course, also, this is another really damn good title. 2 really good writers who just basically knew what they're doing when it comes to Spider-Man. Of course, we'll be finishing Spectacular Spider-Man Volume 2 really soon, and I will also be discussing more of Spectacular Spider-Man. Okay, so that's episode review. I'm going to do one more comic corner, and then basically I'm going to start watching Bleach. Okay, next video. Bye.